welcome to your Frequency Shift podcast with your host, Karis and Nick. And we invite you into this deep, transformative conversation that challenges the status quo and opens new pathways to success, abundance, and alignment. And today we have the incredible honor of hosting our dear friend, mentor, teacher, and cosmic guide, Michelle Aristocrat. Michelle is a powerhouse, a multi-platform business owner who has achieved remarkable success across the board. And more than that, she is a catalyst for cosmic alignment using astrology, ancient wisdom, and energetic codes to help people rewrite their own personal stories and money stories to reclaim that power. She's also an empowering force that pushes you to break free from limiting beliefs and align with your highest purpose. You know, on today's topic, money is often considered such a taboo topic and something most people avoid talking about, yet it is such a central thing in majority of how we live our life and what we do. So a lot of us also carry many deep-rooted issues and unconscious beliefs about money that hold us back. So in today's episode, we're going deep into the energetics of money, unpacking those stories, beliefs, and societal constructs that shape our relationships with wealth and luxury and all things on that vibration. So get ready to be inspired and challenged and enlightened by this conversation. Michelle, thank you for being here.
That was awesome. Tell them who I am, girl. Tell them who I am.
Just a tiny
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. That was amazing. Thank you. Oh my God. You guys know how much I love being with you guys. So this dance is going to be magical for us and for those who want to listen and for all those who are coming through with this energy. So thank you. I'm so excited. Happy full moon, by the way. It's happy full moon in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
It is a super full moon. Very, very important full moon to literally change your destiny. This is the time. So
this is the best time to have this conversation as well.
So just to give everyone a little bit more clarity as well, the questions that we're going to be looking at today will be around, astrology. How can you manifest more abundance? Why is worthiness so tied to wealth? What are the masculine and feminine energies at play when it typically comes to money? And most importantly, how can we stop demonizing money and start embracing it as a tool for empowerment as well as our spiritual growth? So, Michelle, we are going to start off and get into it. And this was when we were compiling these questions, I was like, well, how do we open this up in a way where someone gets to know you a little bit more? And I think when you start diving into something like money, it's an incredible teacher, as well as it just highlights, one's mindset and their beliefs. So my question that I have for you, starting off this conversation, is what does money mean to you? And did it always mean what it means to you in this now moment? And can you just share a little bit of your story and your journey with money from your relationship prior to what it is now?
Sure. So firstly, I will say money is my soulmate. I love me some money, Kanti, okay? Like literally. And the reason why is because of the belief I had of money all my life, understanding that, the material aspect of money and the demonizing of it as a spiritual person that is now transcending into a conscious person. The reason why this is important to understand is because money represents freedom to me. It doesn't represent things. Money represents the frequency of consciousness, the frequency of abundance and prosperity. And it also represents the frequency of my brand and my business, meaning the more I put into myself, the more I put into my business. Therefore, I can put more into others to be in service. Right? So for me, the love of money is deeper than the material. I look at money as something that is beyond the material realm. And the reason why I have come to that finding or that truth is through the experience of life, through the experience of noticing how first of all, money can really shift your life in many ways. Does money buy you happiness? No, if you're miserable. But if you have already achieved happiness and purpose, then money is just the gateway into such bigger purposes and missions in your life, right? So, like, honestly, I have a very different relationship with money now. Money used to be very karmic to me. So, I don't know how deep you want me to go with it, but I will say that I've always thought, okay, cool. So I honestly always thought that money was very karmic. I never thought that I could achieve, having a certain amount of money while really embodying my truth or being who I truly am, right? The conditioning of money, but also understanding sometimes money can be very karmic. How I grew up, money was very karmic, except for having love or except for listening to someone or being seen. The act of money was given as leave me alone, go do your thing, right? So it's very karmic in the end of the day. And I think that a lot of us have to realize that money also is very deep in our lineage. How has money grew up in you? How has money grew up in your parents? How has money grew up in your grandparents? We have to look at money as an energy field versus just money because it tells us a lot about how we have to alchemize it and how we have to learn to love it as self. So literally, when I say karma, I mean lessons and understanding that there is a universal law when it comes to money. And the more you actually work in that universal law, the more you can break your karma and turn it into dharma, right? So what I mean by that is understanding, well, if the universe is abundant, like everybody says it is, then how much are you actually depositing every day into that universal bank? And the more you deposit in that universal bank, you will understand that now you have a cosmic connection to that cosmic law. And therefore, there will be withdrawals that you can also take, which will also be unlimited. But it's through the act of alchemy, and it's also through the act of being in service to others. So what I mean by that, if money is energy, and it's just not money, how much self-love are you actually embodying every single day? How much are you giving to yourself every single day without shame or guilt, right? And how much are you actually allowing yourself to be seen in that and also then share that deliciousness with others? That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I always say like money brings it for me, it's always such a big exposer in terms of it will expose who you are and how you think about things and where you are with things, because it doesn't, I mean, where your levels of worthiness are, or like you said, how much you're loving yourself and how much you actually trust, not just yourself, but the universe that holds you. So it is such a great exposer and a teacher in that way. And until you really embrace that, and if you're going to be resisting that energy the whole time, you're going to make it so difficult for yourself. And I think that also adds to the whole karmic aspect of it. Yeah, until you embrace money as a teacher versus, oh my gosh, it's trying, like, it keeps coming to get me. Like, why is this happening, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point, babe. Like exposing, you know what I mean? Like, look at what's happening right now in Hollywood, for example,
Gosh.
Right. So it's understanding your truth will always be exposed, and the more money you have, the more the light will be bright. And what you have left is you naked standing under that light and seeing who you truly are. And that's why, it's very important to understand, are you really embodying the highest frequency? Are you really authentic? Are you really transparent? Because money demands that from you as well. Right. And it also depends on your upbringing. If you've been struggling for money, if you grew up poor, then you have another karmic lesson to learn. It really just depends on your upbringing. But in the end of the day, money would be on planet Earth. Money is one of the biggest mirrors because it really shows you where you're investing and where you're making those excuses not to invest.
And also exposing like other people's relationship when you have money, because when you have money versus when you don't have money, it's so interesting to see how people treat you and how they are around you and who they are. And so this is why I say like money is such a big exposer of things, because like, when you have money, then people's whole perception of you changes. And it's like, oh my gosh, who does she think she is? And it's just exposing where their mentality is with it versus
And they project it on you at the end of the day. They're
Oh my
insecure.
God.
Um, I, I, something that you touched on there, just in terms of self-love and bringing that into, you know, awareness. I think that probably is one of the limiting beliefs that I wanted to ask you about in the next question, that people have, because they don't believe that they're worthy of love and sharing that love with themselves. And that's been a practice, you know, of my own journey, getting comfortable with that. And I think it's an incredible teacher, like you said, money highlighting the lack of love and lack of care that one would normally, you know, just put to the side, because it's a practice, and it's uncomfortable to invest in yourself in that way, just for the sake of loving yourself, just for the sake of caring for you. Still a practice.
Yeah. But I have to also say it's a frequency too. You know, you're talking about lack of love versus true self-love, knowing you are loved. They're also two different frequencies. They're two different realities or realms. So, you know, you have to understand, to get there, you have to do a lot of inner work to change your channeling, change your frequency. But 100%.
So money is such a taboo subject, and yet it's something that affects all of us in so many different ways and forms, just from either surviving or thriving, down to our relationships. So out of curiosity, why do you think that people are so uncomfortable with talking about money in general?
Because they're cowards.
Okay.
There we go.
I knew that, like, right when I heard that question, I'm like, here's the answer. And I'll tell you why. Because you have to understand, there's something deeper that they're scared of. There's something deeper that they're hiding, and there's something deeper they don't feel worthy of. Money is just money. This doesn't make any sense to me, right? If you're speaking about consciousness, you're speaking about understanding why we are here on planet Earth. You have to come with awareness when you deal with money. What I mean by that is understanding, you know, if you're running away from your own life here, then of course you're living in survival, and of course you're living in lack. Embrace why your soul has come to planet Earth. We're living in a backwards planet. We know this planet has that duality, but if you are having an issue with money, it's because there's something within you that doesn't have the courage to really show up to. Now, what is that? You can use the excuse of money, but I bet you any money it's something deeper.
Fair. With going a little bit deeper with that, what are some of the BS stories that maybe come up around money, when you're maybe helping, you know, your clients or people rewrite the script or rewrite their story around money?
Time is money's twin flame.
So
what I mean, yeah, you like that?
I don't have enough time, or like, the whole,
Okay.
Time. So think of it, right? We all have the same 24 hours. We're all around the world in different places where Creator put us, blessed to the Zaddy. But we all have 24 hours in one day. Therefore, what are you doing with that 24 hours to make it prosperous and to make it abundant? And what I mean by prosperous and abundant, my loves, is not talking about the money. It's about you facing your shadows and facing what you're really scared of. You know, nothing is more abundant than actually being authentic and being real. And that really is the start of the bank machine rolling in. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand, like, if we're talking about the excuses is toxic. It's an old energy. It's an old timeline. So you need to get out of your emotional body, which is the 3 lower chakras, and come into the etheric template, which is the 3 higher chakras. So the 3 lower chakras is human. The 3 higher chakras is divine. I don't fuck with humans. I say it all the time, and I'm very blunt with it because I like to trigger people. Trigger, you know what I'm saying? But you're working your template. If when you're hiring in a higher template, which is the etheric template, you're working in a very different frequency, and you understand that you are blessed to have 24 hours. You are still on planet Earth because Creator has a higher purpose for you. So you better make sure you show up to each hour. You know what I mean?
People always talk about the time aspect, but I really believe that there's this disease of dissociation that people love being friends with, where they don't, it's and dissociation, I mean, this is a blanket term for all the distractions people use to keep themselves away from actually facing that truth or that shadow, like you said. But once you're able to be present, the way that you have or experience your 24 hours is very different, because when you're in that dissociative state, it almost like blurs past and it's so fast. And that's why we always hear people say, oh my gosh, it just flew by. It was a blink of an eye. I don't remember much. And people call that a life where, you live however many years, but you're only awake for so many moments. That's not life. That's not living it. And that is why so many people preach again about being present within your space, because being present and having the ability to be awake for your life, it is a rite of passage. And this is why there's the like you earn the right to be there, but also it's like the Creator and the universe also blesses you more when you're there to see the fruits of the Spirit and there to be yeah, I mean, you have to be a participant in the life that you're wanting to create. Otherwise, what's the point? Why are you here if you're just going to sit here and waste your breath by excusing yourself or staying victim to the things that you should be free of? So anyway.
Good points. No, that's such great points, because you have to realize too, right? Like money doesn't like that frequency. Money is a higher frequency, but also look at the shadow aspect, right? Money is the root to all evil. I heard that a lot while I was talking about that energy. But who fucking created that? Religion. Who created religion? Man. And who makes all the money? The churches who molest little boys and continue to do so. And the sex trafficking and la la la. So listen, in the end of the day, we know the truth. The truth is here. However, you have to show up to yourself and go, okay, so if I don't want to live a life, then live a life working a 9 to 5, working for someone else's dream, work until you retire and then die blessed. But those of us who understand, we have been chosen because we have also chosen this timeline to actually embody the highest frequency. Then if we're talking about anything spiritual has high vibration. High vibe means to be at a certain level of frequency is the etheric realm. And to understand that money on that realm is also very accessible, because you actually love your life. You live like you are going to die in an hour. It's that play of life and death at all times. You know what I mean? So listen, in the end of the day, there's so much depth in that shadow, and I get it. But in the end of the day, for example, and I'll just throw it out there for those who are listening, those who are constantly listening to free podcast, but they never invest with the people they listen to, those are the type of people who have to level up.
Yeah.
How many years have people been listening to you? They never booked a session with you once.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm giving that energy so everybody can understand what I'm saying to you. Information is free, but energy exchange is not. How are you giving back? In the end of the day, if you were invested with someone you've been listening to for years, you don't think now you have just leveled up in your own game? You have just turned that frequency up, and you've also given back to someone you've been admiring and learning from. It's such a beautiful thing. And money is that way too.
Yeah.
Money is that way too. You see that mirroring that I just did?
Beautiful.
So you understand, we have the now. It's not about judgment. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt, but it's just to change your mindset and be real with how you look at money.
At the end of the day, if you've been doing what you always do and it hasn't been working for you, then if you feel that call, sometimes you'll be listening to something or you'll be watching something and you'll feel that like spirit sort of rise in you, where you feel inspired to like do an action or to do something. And every time you don't do it, it gets a little bit quieter and quieter and quieter until you actually don't recognize who you are anymore. And then it's like one day, years later, you have this like moment where you're looking at yourself and then it's like, oh, how did I get here? So, and those are the things that I'm trying to prevent for people, even though it's not my path, it's not my journey, but it's your own stuff that you need to work through. But at the end of the day, you can make it either more difficult for yourself or easier. And I would love sorry. Go.
No, I was going to say, well, let's look at it this way. Imagine we go and invest into, let's go take $1,000 and let's all go buy something at the mall, whatever we want. But we just put $1,000 into something we want for ourselves in the mall. Just think of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, what would you buy? Both of you can answer. I'm playing a little bit here, but follow me. What would you buy?
Me or Nick?
Both of you individually.
Right now,
$1,000.
I'd probably go buy a coffee machine immediately.
Okay. Okay. Blessed.
Me, I would probably those KitchenAid mixers and a like really soft, fluffy robe. Those are the two things I get.
Okay. Okay, good. Blessed. Both of you are delicious homemakers right now. That's blessings. But how good would that feel to use that? And how would you show up to that moment of your peace and that feel good when using it? Right? And the reason why I'm saying that is because now imagine every week you buy something for yourself. You show up to yourself, you show up for what you're desiring, you're leaning more into pleasure, you're leaning more into feeling that peace and being proud of yourself that you bought something you really wanted at that time. And then 20 years goes by and you actually really show up to this world versus just living life and letting life slip by. People who let life slip by is because they don't understand pleasure at all. They don't understand that reward of investing into what they need and what they want so they can be happier. Because after you guys purchase that, you'll be happier.
And a lot more comfortable and warm in that fluffy ass robe. So I will enjoy my mixer and drinking your coffee. So
I think like what you've touched on is actually it's two of the questions that we had prepped, which was this idea of poverty and suffering being this noble and holy quest that so many people are still stuck in this idea. And this was actually a very triggering question that we explored a while back, which is, why do you think so many people are comfortable with being poor or struggling?
And I don't mean also like poor in money aspect of it. It's that mentality.
It's the mentality.
And
yes.
Thinking that you have to be poor and suffer in order to be worthy of
XYZ.
So.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, I don't understand nor resonate with that at all.
Sure.
That's the first thing I'll say. I don't understand. I don't know people like that. Therefore, it's very difficult to go into that. Right away, I could say that's a very old timeline. Very old timeline, I just don't resonate with it. So right away, I'm like, next question. But what I will do is let's feel into that for a second. Let's feel into that, right? Thinking that someone who is here to suffer and to be poor mentally, physically, spiritually, that is noble. What the fuck are they smoking? Like, what is this?
It is the flavor of martyrdom. So, and I also don't resonate with that, but
beautiful. So what you're saying is that they're actually bowing down to their devil self versus bowing down to the creator.
Exactly.
They're victimhood. And that's noble. I don't know these people.
It's so interesting because it's such that mindset is so prevalent where like within our upbringing and just from what we've seen and observed. And it's so interesting how it was just like for you, it was just No, I don't even have
Yeah.
space for that.
Especially in the religious context of it. Like, I know I have so many relatives, and so there are quite a few people who still believe and live like that, where you have to suffer, you have to work hard, and shifting out of the mentality can be, it's so liberating to be free of the shackles to a degree. But I think, I've got a relative who still thinks that the only way to get to heaven, or quote unquote, is to suffer and
Through
like,
martyrdom.
through that aspect of martyrdom. And my creator doesn't, the creator that I have is is an abundant creator, and I wouldn't have these desires or want to experience the life that I want to experience if it comes from somewhere, and it comes from somewhere else. It's not just me. So yeah, I just think my creator is wealthy as like, why should I sit here in poverty and want to play small and not want to experience the best of the best, if that makes sense.
So if I can just go a little deeper on a soul level, now that I will feel into it more, one, we have to understand that everybody has their own soul contract. Therefore, some people are here to feel into that and live that life fully until their next life, right? So we have to understand that that's a timeline they're playing out because that's their soul contract. Two is also understanding, if you are religious or practice a certain religion, one, you have to look at the religion you're practicing. Is it based off of manipulation? Is it based off of lies? Is it based out of deceit? Then, of course, you're going to be in that cycle of manipulating your own psyche, right? And your belief system, right? And also understanding deeper, it's like, why haven't you explored other options out of these programs or these belief systems? Because let's say, for example, you believe in the New Age religion, which is Muslim, Christianity, or Judaism, right? And we understand that these three right now are the New Age, as an ancient one myself. And these are the three that are constantly having wars within and without. So you have to understand you're in a chaotic energy, and you're actually choosing to be in chaos because of those beliefs. It's very simple, guys. It's 2024. His name wasn't Jesus. He wasn't a white man with blue eyes. Everything in that energy is a lie. Therefore, I can't resonate because I am conscious, I'm awoke, I'm intelligent, I am here, I am present. And there's so much information out there for you to learn and to stop actually feeding the beast system, which is all manipulation and deceit.
And I think just the whole concept of demonizing money, it ties so deeply into these religious roots of just like, well, money is this bad thing. When one is able to shift out of that belief or idea that money is this horrible thing, how does that shift essentially help one to receive and accrue more wealth? Like, if you were to maybe just put that into words, like what shifts after you've changed your mindset around money?
Well, think of your whole body being filled with black tar. Right? And now imagine you have now decided to detox and to clear that black tar so you can make room for a more delicious kind of juice, something that will fill you up, mind, body, and soul, something more clear, something more divine, right? So you have to understand black tar has a frequency, it's very low vibrational. And when you to detox, because this doesn't happen overnight, it takes time to detox these tars, your belief systems and layers of it, you start feeling lighter. You feel more happier. You feel more free. And now you're basically saying you're on a different timeline or a different frequency that you now shifted into opening up your arms to receive what divine frequency truly is versus what a manipulative, mortal, fallen consciousness has given you, which is religion. Right? So I always say this, take the cross off. Take the cross off your back, take the cross off your neck, take the cross off the walls, take the cross off, because the cross represents suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people still glorify suffering because they think it's so noble, when that too is a false belief.
I was really sitting with something yesterday, and we've been talking about it for a couple of days, which is because Nick was asking me, what is the next step for you? And for me, it's really that thing of be still and know that I am God. And by I am God, it's the whole thing of that I amness. And so it is sitting with whatever truth or whatever thing someone outside of yourself brings to you. It is sitting and being like, okay, in that stillness, and asking yourself that question of like, does this feel true? Like, and feeling into that. And that's the thing I think that people who are in these religious spaces don't do, because we accept blindly what people give. And I used to be in that space because I said to Nick yesterday, I know the Bible intimately and these other religious books because I was trying to find God in there for so long. And it's not outside of you.
God was never in between the words.
No.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing of even within like the whole new age space. Now we have all of these other teachers who are doing these manifestation rituals and all these other things that come up with it. And for me, I have really had to come to a space where I had to strip back what it is that I really believe here in this space. And it was like, I don't feel like I need to do anything in order to be worthy of. I don't feel like I need to only eat the fish on Fridays or only do this in order. And I have to look for outside counsel the whole time, because that wisdom is always within you. And that's why you have to be able to come into that space of stillness. And it's really that whole energy of be still and know that I am God. And it's speaking to the I amness in you. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And understanding too, if you're going to be still and become a temple or a pyramid, then you understand the true knowing that you are God is when the storm comes, right? So, it's very easy to say, be still and I am God, while you're sitting in your room and no one's interrupting you.
Yeah.
But when there is a big trigger, which is the storm, can you still embody that God within? And that's the biggest test. And that's why we're here on planet Earth, because the thing is, yes, that is very true. And I love that you said it made me feel so yummy, right? But we also have to understand, there is also something bigger than us and the reasoning why we're here. And I think that the biggest shifts do come in the biggest storms, when the trigger has hit very deep. Because you understand that we're here to evolve and never really be still. So it's a little bit of this beautiful thing, like be still, yes, but at the same time, the ocean will always flow.
I just want to clarify quickly. I'm not meaning sit still and do nothing. I just mean be able to come into that space of stillness within yourself for a second, when you're clear of mind and clear of heart, and you're able to listen to everything within you, despite what's happening.
No, I completely get it. I said that because I have clients that go,
Yeah.
I'm just being, and I'm broke. I'm like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So just be broke.
I'm a feminine. I'm open to receiving. I open my legs to the moon every night, but I'm still broke. I'm like, yeah. You sure are.
So just tying into that. So do you think that when you do like fine tune your frequency and one has accepted the abundance that that there's this balance between the masculine and feminine? You touched on the idea of the feminine, because obviously the masculine creates a framework, the structure, the safe space, whilst the feminine is this creative, chaotic energy, which is open and receptive and allows this flow.
And multiplies.
How do people get the balance right there? Because I find that it's a dance between the two, depending on what you're doing. And just out of curiosity, like how do you interpret that, or how would you express that to someone that's curious about those two energies and how they connect with one another?
So the first thing you have to really understand and catch yourself if you're projecting masculine energy or feminine energy outside of you. Because a lot of people think that a woman is a feminine and a man is a masculine, which is the biggest deception of all time. Hello, Adam and Eve, right? First of all, Adam and Eve, it's already a lie because there was Adam and Lilith. So there's a lot already in these stories. The stories are our teachers. So it's good to talk about these stories. But at the same time, you have to understand you can never accept that you are love unless you actually are in union with yourself. That you have accepted that you are whole and you are complete. You are both masculine and feminine. For example, on my Instagram page, I always have images of a man and a woman, and everybody thinks I'm projecting outwards. It's my inner union. That's me and that's me. Both are me. So the first thing you have to understand is that, are you actually in unity or are you in separation? Big, big code there, because unless you really are initiated in the goddess temple, because only the goddess can actually activate this remembrance. And remember, a goddess is not a woman. It is an energy we all hold. Every gender has it. So you have to understand it is the goddess that initiates you into your union, right? And that's why, talking about religion again, that's why women have been demonized for centuries, because the closer you get to that feminine energy, usually a woman would be the first thing you see, right? With a feminine energy, because it's automatic as a human. But when you are actually deeper into consciousness, you realize it's an energy. So you have to understand people are trying to separate us all the time. And that's why the battle of the man and woman, but truly unity is within us always. So that's the first part, I would say. What was the question again?
I think you've actually answered it. I think many people, they obviously identify with gender, and then it's like, well, I'm a masculine. I need to be within my masculine because that's a healthy representation. It's a great starting point. But then recognizing that you are firstly a whole person, which means that you are both, you're divine. So that means you must have both masculine and feminine to create.
And yes, and I was going to say, and the moment you're born, you have to check a box. Is this a female or a male? So you have to understand these are the programs that are instilled right when we cry and go, why the fuck am I back on planet Earth? That's the first cry of the baby, right? So, but then, right? And then it continues, that continues. Oh, I'm a woman. Oh, I'm a man. Are you single or are you married? No, I'm neither. I'm whole and I'm complete. You know what I mean? Like, you have to really understand this is conditioning beyond our own individual journey. It's beyond, it's lineage programs. So we really have to be real with that, change up the energy, but also obviously play along with this illusion. We do live in an illusion, right? But what I mean by that is like, are you still connecting to a gender, or are you actually whole and complete without what you're seeing on the physical realm?
I'm just thinking, on my own journey with that, in terms of working in the feminine aspect, it's like learning to receive, looking at that sense of worthiness there. Like, what do I need to work on within myself so that I can feel like worthy to receive? But I can't just stay there in the receiving energy because there's things to do. Like, and that's where that balancing act comes in. And even for Nick as well, as much as he loves to do and to like be in that masculine space, like it's also learning to receive and enjoy receiving and all of those things. So yeah.
And there's also a realization, right? The teaching of masculine energy and feminine energy is not completely accurate in the spiritual community, because the feminine is dark and the masculine is light. There is no light feminine energy.
Yeah.
That's masculine. How dare I just now betray the masculine energy within me because I want to be a light feminine? That makes no sense, because women are scared of the darkness. That makes no fucking sense. Like, we are darkness. We are the womb. We are the void. We are the 0 point. Dark is not good. Light is not excuse me, dark is not evil, light is not good. It's a frequency of life force energy, which is the negative and positive, which creates
Yeah.
everything on planet Earth. So it's very big. That's also a very deep rooted conversation to have when it comes to money, too, because you have to understand when you're constantly in a separative state of consciousness, because you don't have the proper ancient teaching, you can have resistance to co-creating. And then you will be manifesting. Break down the word manifesting. Man is festing. That sounds gross. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you festing out there?
Sounds like an abscess.
Manifesting.
It sounds like you got a little bit of a disease, boo-boo. Sounds like you got to go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, and co-creation is saying I am in communion with our creator, and we all have the same creator. There is no different creator. There is only one creator. There's only one source, but there's many gods, many goddesses. So, you know, when we're all aligned to that higher frequency, it's all the same truth, but now we get to verbalize it deliciously in our unique ways, you know? So, but union is key to that. You can't be a co-creator if you're not in union. It's just so you gotta have to understand, what does that mean? A lot of people will enter the temple of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, right? That's the twin flame journey. The twin flame was my biggest catalyst to realize that I am not a twin flame. I am the fucking twin flame.
Yeah.
Meaning that I have both flames inside of me, masculine and feminine, are burning bright. And that is the life force energy that we need to co-create heaven on this planet.
Created within yourself.
What is it?
Correct.
The kingdom of heaven? Like, you know, you people in the religious aspect of things, you try and do
Heaven
all
is
these
within.
good deeds to in order to get into heaven, and it's not a place that you need to get into. And yeah, so
It's the place that is actually within you because it's a consciousness. You know, they have really good poetry. I call it poetry, right? Like, these verses are great poetry, but who's listening to them? It's very different. If you're listening to it from a lower frequency, then you'll believe the hype, you know? But if you are in a higher consciousness and you understand that everything is spoken, it's true, but it's within, and it's up to us to individually get to that level of consciousness,
I always think,
right? Like, for example, oh, go ahead, my love.
oh no, I was just going to say, you know, shortly I always think of Albert Einstein and Leonardo da Vinci and people like that, and they channeled from a space called the primordial consciousness, which is the feminine. It's that darkness. It's, you know, when you plant that seed into the soil, you can't see what's happening in there, but something's growing. So Leonardo da Vinci and Albert Einstein, they've said it before, like that's where they get their information from, but they also did something with it. They changed the entirety of concepts and the way that things that we base our world on now. And so it's like that is still available to us. So why do we think that, you know,
Because we think that's the problem. You know, let's think. Don't think too much. You know what I mean? Because that's where the ego is. You know, a lot of people don't understand even the true meaning of an ego. However, what I will say is that even the mystics, right, understood that it's the feminine energy. If you listen to Rumi or Hafiz or any of the mystic teachers, they talk about the feminine energy, but it's within them. You know, even as a man walking planet Earth, it's within them. And that's why they are the greatest lovers, because they've already embodied that feminine energy within them. So they know how to devote and commit or worship a feminine energy outside of them, because everybody else is their mirror. Right? Like, for a woman, I've been whole and complete for years, but I've been on my own, right? I don't have a divine counterpart, but I received perfectly. I just went shopping yesterday. You know what I mean? I bought myself something delicious, which I always consider my masculine. My masculine bought me a delicious gift, and I used it beautifully this morning. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand, when we speak of these realms, please use your imagination. Please bring in your inner child, because it's really important to understand that you are king and you are queen. And when you actually create your kingdom and your queendom, because you have to make both, right? you will understand the frequency of money way more differently. It's such a different, like, it's like, it will blow your mind. It will completely blow your mind.
I also want to say, I've noticed that now, I think the more money you create, the more you also want, depending on where you are in your mentality, there's some people who the more money they have, the more they want to keep that for themselves and the more they want to hoard that. But I think, for myself personally, when I think about having more, it's also about having a space where I can create more. Like, I always visualize it in terms of I'm creating this incredible garden that people can sit at and also eat the fruits of, or I'm having a table where everybody has a plate at. I don't know. It's just I used to have this like almost resentment or anger towards money because it's like, you rub so many people of their lives, they out there pursuing this, and it's like I used to have this such a resistance towards it before I understood that it's not money that's the problem, it's people's mentality, and they are the things that trap themselves. It's not the money trapping them. Nobody, you didn't, it's not that you didn't have a mother or a father or experience that because of a job because they needed to experience money. They chose to do that. It's not, nobody held a gun to their heads to do that. So it's just the understanding of, yeah, I find that now people have, a lot more people do the thing of when you have more, you also create more for other people. And I think it's a beautiful energy. And that's what abundance really means. It's not just for yourself. So
100%. And that's the thing though. It's very true what you said. It's not about the money, it's about your mentality, it's about the level of consciousness, and it's also the vibration you're vibrating on, right? You could create a garden because you're so abundant, and then bums will walk in and piss all over it. That's because that's their energy.
yeah.
Right? So you have to understand when you do evolve, you also have a lot more maturity and boundaries that you work with. So therefore, there is a garden, but there's also a big gate and a bigger lock. And Anubis is standing right in front of that gate saying, you are not allowed in or you are allowed in. Meaning, you have to understand there's a protection there because gardens don't grow just because you're lucky. Gardens grow because of the mud, because of the storms, because of the consistency and all the things you have to do for yourself to create that garden within.
Oh, I said garden, not park. So there's the difference. The park would be everyone is welcome. The garden is like, you can come into my house, but
Yeah, but still, right? Like you got to understand, like people see that garden from beyond the realms and want to come in. It's like, and I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's like that garden represents the work you've been doing. And what a beautiful gift that is, right? And you have to understand, it's like, well, that's why this space is luxurious, and that's why this space is also very private and only invite only. That's your garden, right? Invite only.
And I mean, that
But
also
it's
touches,
money.
yeah.
That's how money is.
I
Money
mean,
doesn't want dirty on it.
no, it does not. No, it does not. I wanted to ask you, as someone who has mastered so many different like platforms or different areas of success in your life, like how do you personally stay aligned with that specific sense of like abundance and purpose? Like what are the tools or practices that you turn to, especially in when there's a storm or when you are in a space where you do feel
A little bit more challenged.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love challenges. Bring them.
Okay. That's the first one. Yeah.
First of all, you have to understand, like, I am a warrior in every aspect, right? So when a warrior is faced with a challenge, she will never run, she'll run right to it. Secondly, you have to understand, when there's a challenge, that means you're about to level up. So you have to also understand when you're about to level up, get ready to be uncomfortable, right? Like the move that I just made right now. Literally, I left everything in Mexico, a place that I've loved so much, never felt home anywhere else in this world except for that place in Mexico. And not because I had to, but I knew I was about to level up. So I left it. I left everything behind to come to Dubai, which is crazy energetically, crazy financially, crazy in a lot of different ways. And I'm here, and that is literally my own challenge, and understanding that now it's time to really level up, even when it comes to money, and understanding how I use the energy. In the end of the day, when you know you need to move, you got to move. And to me, but I made different. I get it. Like, I get that. I know that I made different because I had my death experience. So I understand that. But at the same time, I love a challenge because I know in that challenge is where I find my victory. And that's where I believe in creator even more, in those little victories. And then I just go online and write everywhere, and because that's inspiration. That's all. It's like, that's it.
Just to add to that, something that I always say is when you move, you will be met. When you
Yes.
move, you will be met.
Yes.
I love what you shared there, because that's it. It's not even a thing of it's not required. Like, you need to move, you need to change things up. When you get the impulse, you need to trust it. When you have that voice inside of you saying, listen, buddy, you need to like shake things up. Like, you cannot be living the same pattern and life every single day. Life is fluid, life is ever changing, and you can't stay the same for 40, 50 years. Like, it's impossible. Even at a cellular level, you cannot stay the same. You have a different experience every single day. Why do you want to play safe and stay in this cave and just not move? Because you'll never be
Well,
met. No one's going to see you. Life isn't going to see you.
Like, I'll move
well,
from Kimberly.
yeah, but you can't play it safe. You know what I'm saying? That's because you're trying to be safe, and this world's not safe. This world is beyond safe. Therefore, you have to embody also the planet and the energy that we're on. But also understand too, it's like there is so much, I don't know, I think that people find this difficult, they find this journey difficult, but really it's simple. It really is simple. Like, you don't really need to put a 30-day program together with exercises. In the end of the day, if you know you need to change your life, just start making the moves to change your life.
You don't need to have
You know
all
what
the answers. It's like, I just think of when we moved, and the safe options that were available where we were, but there was this thing that was like, you have to move, you have to. So what we did was we sold everything. We packed what we could into a car, and we moved to like one of the most expensive cities in our country. And we had no idea, no plan, 2 kids, and we were like, okay, well,
We didn't even have the kids in school yet.
yeah.
So like, there were so many things like hanging up in the air, but we're like, well, we are here now, and we've made the move. So can you fucking meet us, please?
The thing is,
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. They always say when Yeshua, Jesus, God, your teacher knocks on the door, meaning it's time for you to go. Are you ready to leave?
well, we left not ready and not knowing. But this is the thing, I think people want a degree of safety before they move, and it's never going to, like, when you get that call, it's like you either go now, you jump on the train, or you miss the
Yeah.
train. And the same train isn't going to be
Oh.
coming, so get up and go. And I just think people are wanting for safety and waiting for that safety and comfort, and it's like, okay, I'll do the jump, I'll do it when I have that, like, the savings thing to land on, or when I have like my partner, or I'll make the decision when and it doesn't work that way. So
Well, to be honest with you, safety is sacred energy, and you are the sacred energy. So you have to become the temple to actually reach a place of safety, meaning you can't project safety on your house or the train or your job or your partner. They're going to be the reflection of what you have within. So until you realize that you are the temple, and it is your sacred space within, meaning no matter what happens, even when I do die, if a bomb is coming over ahead of me and I see this bomb about to land, I am safe and all is well. That's safety, right? So you have to understand that is a very strong foundation. I say this all the time as an ancient Egyptian. Why do you think the pyramids in Giza haven't been shut down?
Yeah.
Why haven't they been destroyed? Because they have a very strong foundation of an ancient consciousness that they know, right?
Mm.
So, yes, I get that you want to feel safe, but the more you use your excuses, you will never feel safe. The
Mhm.
truth is, you have to understand that you are safe and you have to work with people to get you into that
Mhm.
temple of space, safety, excuse me. So I understand the safe. Of course, we all want to feel safe, but at the same time, you also take full responsibility to understand that safety is a self inner journey.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's funny, like you answered the question that someone actually sent through on Instagram, which was how to not play it safe and get out of the 9 to 5 matrix. It is that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it is that. And the other thing I would say to you too, if time is what we have, is time and money are twin flames. And why are you wasting your time putting money and effort into someone else's dream? Why are you getting someone else rich when you are the richness? It's a big reflection of your own mirroring. Because this is Goddess Hecate. Goddess Hecate will give you all of your reflections. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough time. I'm not ready enough. I'm not educated enough. I have this. And that's all ego, guys. That's all ego. And it's very important that you work with Goddess energy for that, specifically Goddess Hecate, because she will give you that help. It will be very triggering to your nervous system, but purge, baby, purge. In the end of the day, it's everything we're talking about, but also we got to also look at it more in a masculine way, right? What are you actually saying to yourself every day? And how are you using that time wisely? Listen, I get that sometimes it is a struggle, right? Imagine, right? You are a single parent and you have to work 9 to 5 to make that salary. You can't just quit and give up everything and walk away all the time. I get that. You could, I'm not saying you can't, but I get that sometimes that's not the first option.
Yeah.
So you have to understand, right? One, every single human being, and I'll say it in this way, every single human being has a voice and has something to teach another. Every single human being.
Mm.
We've all been blessed and cursed to come onto planet Earth, and that blessing and that curse has taught us a lot of lessons. So everything we have gone through in life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, has given us the actual keys to unlocking doors to our own purpose and our own mission.
Mhm.
But you have to be brave enough to speak your truth and also understand that your truth is helping someone else.
Mhm.
And that's how it gets started in any aspect of business. It's about to serve another. In what aspect? Well, fuck, we're abundant. There's so many different revenues you could go into, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at that and then understand, okay, so if I'm going to use my time wisely, I have to really understand, I have to make a certain practical plan that 1 hour every day I'm focusing on this freedom. I always call it the freedom aspect. Wherever you are in your life, we're trying to be free from something. All of us. It never ends. We're always trying to be free from something. What is that freedom and how much is it worth for you? Because if you're saying I need to lose weight and you never go to the gym and you just constantly eat McDonald's all day, then you, my love, are a waste of energy on planet Earth. Because in the end of the day, that is a waste of energy.
Yeah.
No, sure.
So if you know there's a kind of freedom, you have to put your energy wisely, and that's where money comes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I totally agree with you there. And it's funny just to see the projections that come up, because no one wants to necessarily sit within that void that they are avoiding within inside of themselves. They don't want to look at that space. They don't want to see the creative potential that's sitting in that dark, uncomfortable, gooey space where all the magic happens. And if you just sat there and tapped into it, wow. It's incredible, like what actually can be burst through you when you invite in that stillness and that curiosity in that space.
But isn't it so liberating to be that real? Isn't that liberating to feel like it? You know what? Why am I actually giving a shit if I am wasting energy or I am making excuses or if I am lazy? In the end of the day, That's the truth. So how am I going to fix it? You know, a victim will always play victim to another victim. No, that's the energy. But if you are saying, okay, maybe I have been cowardly. Cool. I'm admitting it. Oh, well, now let me be courageous. Let me actually put that truth upon me and let me talk about it. You know, that alone is a money-making podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like going on to online and saying, this is where I've been self-sabotaging myself and now I'm ready to be brave and talk about it. Cool. You know, there's so many journeys one can take just to be real. But unfortunately, you know, we have a very weak society that says if you speak truth, you're judging someone. I'm sorry, I ain't judging someone. Listen, if I'm like, for me, I'm 88 kilos. I weigh 88 kilos. Is that a judgment or is that my truth? That's my truth. So because I'm fine with it and you may not be fine with it, you may think that's overweight weight. That's not my problem. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So it's not judgment, it's truth. And a lot of people have to realize money is a frequency of truth because love is not the highest frequency on planet Earth is. Truth is. So the more truthful you are, the more authentic you are, the more money you'll have. I promise you, it's not a big deal. We've all been through hardships in life. To be real with yourself is not a big deal.
Yeah. I just think people are more comfortable sitting in the discomfort than the actual joy of things. They're more comfortable. They want to sit in the other aspect of it versus they'll rather increase their pleasure for their threshold for pain than tap into the pleasure aspect of things. So, and I'm like, why?
I've gotten the t-shirt with that enough. Like I completely understand the principle.
Yeah, for real though. That's why people love to be choked and spanked while they're having sex. For real. Like that's all I saw. Right when you said that, I was like,
time and place. Time and place.
yeah, but listen, to each their own. But in the end of the day, listen, if you're going to want to be successful, this is about money. This is about success. This is about your legacy. You have to embrace the challenges. Anybody who does not embrace challenges on planet Earth, you will not be successful. You will come and you will go and you will return back to planet Earth. That's the journey of truth, right? I'm not here to die. I've already died once. That's why I'm back. I'm here to transcend. So for me to transcend, meaning not to return back to planet Earth, I have to constantly face challenges, and I don't expect anybody to help me. I expect myself to face that and embrace it and understand there's others who support me and inspire me as well, but I don't expect anybody else to do that work for me. This is my work, and I've already signed that contract that I'm here to do.
You know, I mean,
right?
Back to the biblical texts and the poetry, there's that whole notion of like, I am the truth, I am the light, I am the way, but it's speaking to that I amness. It's not speaking as if like that's something outside of you that you need to go and find the light and go find that truth. It's, yeah. So,
well, right when you said that, I'm seeing you saying it under the desert sand, but then you're looking down at your shadow because the greater the light, the bigger the shadow. So you have to understand when I am the light, I am the shadow. You have to take both aspects of it, right?
Yeah,
because
and that I'm the resurrection, the truth, the light, and the way, like that whole thing that speaks there. So
beautiful, beautiful, fantastic, and that's you also embracing your inner union, right? The sun and you have to understand you are all of it, and it's glorious. You in your shadow is beautiful. I don't understand why anybody doesn't think that. Like in the end of the day, it's like shadow is not demonic. Shadow is you showing you where the light is hitting you.
True. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful reframe. Showing you where the light is hitting you. One of the other questions that we had, probably the last big one, is a massive astrological shift is happening, as you said at the beginning of this podcast today. And just if you, from your understanding and your own GPS guidance system, if you could shed a little bit of light on just what's happening in the collective right now, possibly in terms of just, you know, I know there's a shift, a big shift for the cardinal signs, if I'm correct. Just sharing some light in that space, I think it would be really helpful and interesting for people just to look at how astrology can also support this type of work, especially when you're diving into mindset, money, manifestation, abundance, and just a sense of peace and autonomy within inside of yourself.
Absolutely. Listen, in the end of the day, this is a full moon in Aries. So we're both Aries. We understand Aries is the leader of the horoscope. They're also all about the head. You know, we go head first into things. But collectively, Aries is still in the North Node. So Aries is in the North Node, which is the opposite to Libra, and Libra is in the South Node. Funny enough, today, as we speak, Libra is the sun is in Libra and the moon is in Aries. So we're having a little bit of a 69 aspect here. And why I'm saying that is to understand that Libra rules partnership, Aries rules action. So what are you actually taking action on in your life? What kind of partnership do you want? This is why I said money is my soulmate, because it is the partnership I've been dancing with for years, probably for lifetimes. So you have to look like, sometimes you have to also understand money is not just money. Sometimes money is the love of your life. And it doesn't mean there is no other being that will be coming in to share that deliciousness with you. But I'm saying collectively, you know, if you understand the North Node, which is your destiny, and the South Node, that is your past, we're kind of in a 69 position. And it really depends right now where you want to move to, meaning where you want to give and how you want to receive. So on an individual level, if this is about money, then you have to understand, are you allowing money to be the best partner? And are you the best partner for money? Right? Because destiny is calling. Collectively, we have different waves and there's different frequencies. A lot of people are right now facing the illusions, their own shadows, yada, yada, yada. But I don't work in the healing path. I'm on the ascension path. So my literal guide would be for you to really be clear about your own inner dance with your legacy, your brand, and your business, and how you are showing up and being the best partner to your inner union. Because we are entering 11/11, and 11/11 portal is all about inner union. Therefore, because you two are in partnership, I'm looking at you both, right? So if you both show up to your inner partnership within, and you're both whole and complete, and imagine the magic that you both can share with each other to be even more magnetic to each other and to the world.
I always think of when we started this journey, it was because there was so many things happening within our relationship space that I was like, okay, where do we start? And when we started working with you, it was like, okay, well, firstly, you start with yourselves. And then it's so interesting to reflect on how the dynamics of our relationship has shifted since we've come into that union within ourselves, firstly, and how much more peace there is. So very grateful for that. But yeah.
That's beautiful. Like in the end of the day, it's like even me witnessing you guys, you could just see, you know, you guys have so much more peace just sitting here with you guys, right? So it's I can see it, it's noticeable. It's probably because you're doing your inner work and you're embracing that parts of you, right? In partnership, physical partnership, there's two different souls, and both of you are being called in different ways individually. And there's only so much time in the day, specifically you guys being parents, you know, to those of you who are listening that are parents, you know, there's so much energy that the time just flies. So the more you can go within yourself and be really true to what you're being called to do, and then you make sure you do it and don't expect one another to do it for you, is where you win. And then you guys can share that with one another and share your wins and share your challenges and share whatever and have this amazing dance, Tantra. Hello. But literally in the end of the day, like this is the upcoming energy. It's very mature. It's very mature. We can talk about anything. We can say it the way we want. And all we're doing right now is literally weaving that magic collectively and really allowing ourselves to bloom and grow. And it's so uniquely patterned, right? Like my energy is very blunt. I know sometimes, I'm sure a lot of people are like, fuck this bitch, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is she saying? But to the people who vibrate on my frequency, they're like, mic drop, turn her up, make her louder, let me listen to it again, put her on the big screen, make sure I see, like you're vibrating with the tribe that you're here to vibrate on. And these are the energies that are growing. You are co-creating with so many people. And that's also partnership.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of like growth.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing
growth.
that. Thank you for sharing that. I think if I'm going to look at it from like a practical standpoint today, it's, you talked about the 69. So the action was doing a podcast today. The partnership was all of us getting together and doing the podcast today and just having this conversation. and just for everyone listening, like I think I sent you a message in like, was it March or April? Oh, we need to do a podcast this year. Like, I'm just waiting for the right thing. And I've had
waiting for the baby to get,
but also I had a whole list. So I got back from Bali, baby popped out, whatever the case is. And I was just waiting for like the right time. And I wasn't in the right energetic space. And you were also moving and we could never get on the phone, never get in touch. And then eventually moved into similar time zones. It's like, oh, there we go. And one thing that you said to me, when you had just moved, you talked about your Atlantis codes that you're busy like tapping into. And that just like stuck in my mind. I kept that's been sitting there for a while. And I was like, well, I'm always working around abundance and self-worth and money, and it's such a beautiful teacher with all the people that I get to connect with. And it just felt like this had to be the topic today. This just had to be the conversation that we had to explore. And I just want to say thank you for instigating and catalyzing the idea and for being here. And I think it was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you before we go, what is your definition of luxury and what are your 3 favorite luxuries that you get experience in this human form right now? So, or the divine form that you're in. So
thank you. I was like, first of all, luxurious does not mean human blessed.
Yeah.
Luxury, honestly, my luxury is a vibration of divine art. And it's very hard for me to explain because without the expression, without the visions that I have, without the thoughts and the patterns and the frequencies, that to me is luxury. So I would say my own individual art in that sense. And the 3 that I need in my life is 1, somewhere that I can be heard and seen. That's very big for me. 2, definitely physical things like skincare, massages, the gym, that. And the 3rd and the most important is in the silence with Creator. Literally, that's it. And then art has been born. So you have to imagine, right? Throat chakra expression, body, like think of your body, right? Like think of, like I always think of like red tantra for me is huge. So think of yourself in a tight sauna, right? Think of the energy of the heat rising, right? Think of the sweat. Think of your skin turning more red. Think of how you're going to breathe. Like that alone is such a beautiful, exotic way of looking at your body as luxury. And then because you're about to like lose it because it's so hot and you can't breathe, you go right into creation. You talk to Daddy, you talk to our Creator, because it's in that space where art then is born. And that to me is luxury.
I mean, art is like the physical of what imagination is, so and
art is going to save the world. Art will save the world. It's the only thing that will save us is art. So
thank you so much.
Be your own Picasso. Be your own Picasso, baby. Hang, like you better be loud. You better be bright. No one wants a white canvas. Throw some paint on there.
There are Have you seen that thing that where someone bought a blank canvas and apparently there was someone who bought invisible art as well? There was nothing. They bought
It was like a
nothing.
box. It was like a
What
see-through
was it
box.
like
I've
$1
seen a
million
see-through.
for
Yeah,
like
for trapped air.
I would like that person as my client. Please contact me. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
We will snap it into existence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean it's there? It's right there. It's just in a different realm, but thank you for your check.
You just have to use a different eye to be able to see it, you know? So,
It's really cool because it's giving that person permission to own their own vision, and they don't need a physical art piece to validate it. It's kind of cool.
I really hope the person who bought that art piece is listening so that they but
We'll update everyone listening.
Michelle,
Yes.
thank you so much for this incredible conversation. I think, we've unpacked so many just like deeply held beliefs and touched on all those, like, not all of them, but very powerful cosmic principles and energetic principles. And thank you so much for providing practical tools for our listeners to start shifting their frequency and their relationship with money. And we're truly grateful for the wisdom and the insights that you've shared today. And so for our listeners, if you're feeling inspired to dive deeper into your own money stories or work on that cosmic alignment, be sure to check out Michelle's work on Instagram and her website. We'll put all your links below. But until next time, remember that abundance is your birthright. So, and thank you for being here and sharing space with us. And yeah.
And you can make the shift. You can't forget that.
Sorry.
That's my thing.
There we go.
That's why you had to say it, baby.
I forgot to say it.
Make the shift.
Thanks, guys. Honestly, thank you. Yeah, make the shift. You are the shift. So